Filipino beauty standards are shaped by colonization and reinforced by the media. However, what is beauty?
I think it's unfair.
And how does this affect the Filipino diaspora?
And I hated being Asian growing up.
This is a film that my professor showed in one of my classes back in uni. It perfectly demonstrates how effective it is to evoke emotions in different types of shots rapidly to create a suspense sequence. It's also a propaganda that idealizes violence. Since the dawn of filmmaking, people have found ways to use its power to control the minds of people. And I have been exploring how Filipino cinema came to be and how our colonizers have affected how we think. But one that completely went over my head in the collection of how we view ourselves is beauty. This may be because it's an individualistic experience, but maybe it's not. Before the colonization of the Philippines, women are actually equal to men. They have just privileges and occupy high social statuses, but that in the efforts of colonization through violence for more than 300 years, the Americans came for more.
This is the St. Louis World's Fair in 1904.
It was a human zoo where Filipinos from different ethnic groups were displayed.
Most of the Philippines at 1904 St. Louis World's Fair came from various indigenous groups, including a significant number of Igorot people from the colonial-era region. Upon arrival, some of them died from pneumonia, and when the fair started, things got worse.
So basically, the Filipinos were asked to exhibit how they lived back in the Philippines for the amusement of the Americans. They were also wearing their ethnic clothes that were meant for a tropical environment in a very, very, very cold condition. It was winter.
More bodies were taken from this exhibit, and this part of the Philippine history was further spread by this article by the Washington Post.
These acts of exoticization and dehumanization were meant to depict Filipinos as barbaric, and it created a perceived need for the Filipinos to assimilate into the American culture. It also set the stage for this colonial gaze and established a clear definition of what's human and what's not. So the humiliation of Filipino culture and the native physical attribute of Filipinos, along with the myth of special relations with the United States of America, something emerged. An unrealistic beauty standard that symbolizes social status, wealth, and even health. Filipinas and women within the Filipino diaspora are the most affected because they are positioned at this intersection of capitalism, patriarchy, and racism. And the standard of beauty prioritizes Eurocentric feature like having light skin tone, high bridge nose, big eyes, which not a lot of Filipinos will have. But I guess, I don't know, the closer you are to that standard, the better. It's getting a little heavy, so let's go for a walk. On the topic of media representation, I remember this show, Luna Blanca, and the premise of it, I'm really tired, but basically there's two twins. Three of them actually. One of them is a literal shadow, and that they all come from this mythical creature called Capri. The pressing issue is that they hinted actors who will grow up in the show, and all of the actors are extremely white. Instead of getting someone who has a darker skin tone and actually explicitly experiences what they are trying to depict with people who has a darker skin tone, we have actors who benefited from their whiteness acted in the show. And she's just lighting, I guess. It's coming across as to sort of mock people with darker complexions and making them pretty much a spectacle, similar to oh my gosh, the aunties are here. Similar to when well, I don't know if you guys can see that, but those are the people behind me. Was kind of embarrassed. But yeah, it's similar to when, I don't know, the Americans put Filipino in a zoo, painting them as barbaric and uncivilized. I remember there was a show called Nita Negrita, which is about a half Filipino, half American, who basically found herself in
the orphanage because she basically was abandoned. And the same problem, like they got like a really light-skinned Filipino who benefits from their whiteness and who also enjoys privileges to depict the struggles of having a darker complexion, and in that case being black.
As of right now, Luna Blanca is still up on YouTube, and there's still a big preference for people with lighter skin tone. Here is a Twitter thread that critiques this preference.
Kahit nga ipasunog niya yung Boys Town para mapatahimik si Gidlat, kaya na yan. Right, Dad?
Alright guys, alright, so that's the view. There's a show in the Philippines called Showtime. Basically, they would call people based on how they look, and on Curtis, who's like half white, is basically called Diosa, which is goddess in the Filipino language. And Curtis, she's like in advertising for like whitening products and like papaya soap, which is like such a thing in the Philippines. Meanwhile, this person who has a darker complexion, but yeah, I don't know if it's like problematic because I'm talking about Filipino celebrities here and Filipino culture. Her name is Becky.
Ano yung insecurity mo when you were growing up? The biggest one?
The biggest one is my skin color.
Nadine Lustre, when she gets to the castings, she would see a lot of like mestizas, which is light skin, fair skin like people, and they would usually get the jobs and that she wouldn't. And also she was like saying that like she used like different like whitening products, and a lot of this like target of standard of beauty is harsh to women. And so I think it's better that like we hear from someone who is a woman. I'm actually going back to the hill because it's like the sun is setting. I do not want to be here during the dark. Hi.
Yes, Nico, guess what happened?
What? Oh wait, hold on. She's not free right now, but we'll like talk to her in a bit. Like literally, I'll just like wait here for a bit. This is my cousin Bridget. She moved to America when she was 5, but we kept in touch over the years.
It's recording? Hi.
Anyways, I asked her to participate in this endeavor.
My mom started showing me what beauty meant when I was young. Honestly, when I was like 8 or something, she started telling me to do this. She would be like, oh, pinch this so your nose can grow. And I just was like, okay, like I don't know what that means, but I'll just, like, it might be good for me, so I'll just do it. You know, I had a classmate too, she was Filipino, and her mom also told her to do that. So then we both did this together. They were like 8.
What?
Yeah, 8. You need to like pinch your nose more so it could like so you could get a taller nose bridge. So they would make me use like papaya soap so I could get lighter.
Sorry, this is funny to me because like I literally had the same experience.
And they say it so nonchalantly too. They're like, oh, just a little bit more, just a little bit more.
See advertisings.
Mm-hmm. You know, that's the crazy thing is I tell my mom that I want a nose job when she's the one that like started this whole thing, like, oh, like pinch your nose and stuff, like, oh, like flat noses. She gave me that belief like that flat noses are ugly. It affected my relationship with her in a way where it's like I don't want to be her when I grow up. But I fear that I'm becoming her too. I think it also came from her insecurities too. Like I see her like doing like all that stuff. Like she like uses papaya soap. She injects herself with glutathione. So then she like projects that onto me. I like feel like I have my parents' beliefs still, and I carry it with me. So like whenever I see someone that's like aligns with their beliefs, I'll be like I'll automatically think like, oh, like they're like that's considered unattractive to me. Like all those things, like mostly Asian features, because I hated myself growing up and I hated being Asian growing up because I didn't look like people on social media. Like, freaking Kylie Jenner, like, white girls. It's so exhausting, bro. Like, it's so exhausting. You have, like, other responsibilities too, and then you still also have to, like, look and feel beautiful. There's this girl that's like, oh, like, when a man says, oh, like, let me shower with you, it's like, no, like, you do not want to see me in the shower as a woman. Like, I have to do my everything shower, and everything shower is like shade. It has to be in the same order, okay? You have to use antibacterial soap, and then you have to use a body wash so you smell good, and like a bunch of other shit. And it's a lot.
This is definitely a multi-generational issue that affects the Filipino diaspora. I'm now curious to know how this will continue in the foreseeable future and whether it's possible to break. Hello! This is one of my longest friends I've met in high school.
Okay, so my name is Johanna. I came from the Philippines. I was also born there, and I live here in Canada now. Growing up, I think it's when a woman feels beautiful for who she is. That should be the definition of beautiful. My perspective on beauty changed, I believe, is when I was in high school. I felt like I should have they prefer people who have big boobs, big booties. I mean, in general. I mean, I feel like men would like that. A man is going to make you feel ugly when he stops paying attention to you. When you're in a relationship, your man won't like tell you that you look ugly today. Yeah, in general, like no one will, like, if you love your partner, you wouldn't say something like that, right? So what they would do is make you feel that you're ugly.
Earlier, when I asked for an interview, she actually suggested that we go on a winter activity.
Here. Careful. It's so big. Hey, how are you? Good morning. Did you have breakfast in the car?
Is it like being a mother?
Oh, that's a good question. Amazing.
How so?
It's hard, but she makes it go away. So the first time I found out when I was pregnant with her, that I was gonna have her, I was speechless. Like I couldn't think. I don't know. I was happy, but at the same time scared. Like mixed emotions, just mixed emotions.
And how did you land on the fact that you're gonna have a baby and that you're gonna wanna have her?
Plan?
Yeah, how did you navigate through that? Like just the emotion of like thinking that like she's gonna be a person one day, and now that she is.
Well, there's really no planning on it. When it comes to a child, there's really no planning. Like what I mean is, like, you can't plan ahead because you never know what's gonna happen. She's different from you. She's not an adult, so she thinks differently, and she's a baby, so you really gotta think what she's gonna need, and then what she's like, what you want her to become, and like, and how you're gonna teach her and stuff like that.
What do you want her to become?
Good question. I don't know. I just want her to be happy. Whatever it is that she want to do in her life, I just want her to be happy. As long as she's happy, that's all I need.
I'd be honest, I felt like I wasn't enough. Like I didn't feel as beautiful as how I think right now, and like how I'm accepting myself right now. I've never thought of that when I was in a relationship.
Wag naman ganyan, anak.
I think it's unfair. Because it's like they put you through in so much stuffs that you don't even deserve, yet after that, after putting you all through that, I feel like it's so unfair how things are going so well for men, and for women, like it's so hard to get over it. Like what happened to you, what they did to you, it's so hard to get over it. Sometimes you don't even get over it, you just accept it. There were a lot of stuff that happened to me that it hurt me so much that I just wanted to be out like gone on this world. But I can't do that because I have a daughter and I have to think about her. If someone hurts my daughter in the exact same way that I was hurt, that I was being put up to, I wouldn't be handle it. Hindi ko kakayanin talaga. Like, I'm gonna be there for her. I wanna be there for her, but hindi ko kakayanin as a mother kasi feeling ko magiging kasalanan ko. Like, oh my God. Like, I feel like I feel like it's my fault. Like, in the first place, if I didn't put myself into that situation, maybe this wouldn't have happened to my daughter. You would think that everything is bad. Like, there's no beauty. There's no beauty in you. There's no beauty in everything around you. And then you're gonna come up with this negative personality. Everything, even the happy things that you used to be happy about, you're gonna be negative about it. Like, everything around, like, all your opinions will be on negative stuff. Like, nothing positive will come out of it. Like, when you're in that situation. Like, it's so negative. Everything about your life is always going to be a mess. It's like a whole lot of mess. When I was in that situation, I didn't pull away. I stayed because I thought it was right to stay. As soon as you feel like your world is falling apart and then like you don't see your self-worth anymore, like you're so down that you don't even think about the beauty in life anymore. Like everything, like when you look at it in the mirror and you see yourself, okay, like who is this girl? Like when you see your own reflection and then you think nothing, then leave. I just had to keep moving forward. With or without a choice, you gotta move forward. You can't go back. Just don't go back. Like make the first step to get out of it. And stop thinking about what happened to you before, but start thinking what's good for your future. Not on what's happening around you. Don't see yourself, okay, this is it. This is my life. No. View yourself like, okay, what do I want? What do I want to see myself in? Who do you want to be? I think making that step forward is that step is, for me, is everything. It changes your whole life. I don't know, for me, it changed my whole life.
Exploring the subject of beauty taught me so much. And I don't know, I've always felt and experienced this disconnect or dissonance with regards of how I look and what I can and cannot do. And I remember doing a presentation in high school where I explored some of these topics. This issue is always sensitive, and so I needed to approach this with a lot of care. Hearing from women who are mostly impacted by these standards and the way they go through it confirm that it's a social construct, at least the standards. And honestly, as cliche as it sounds, beauty is something within. And maybe beauty is an emotion or part of our survival kit or what makes us human.